that might be a little different, that you've had some success with along the way. And but one of the things we were sort of talking about early on, the company is at the convention is having this big millennial the big party, right, with the DJ karaoke. You might be right at home there, Dave. And so obviously, it's interesting. And for those of you that haven't been around a long time, when I started in the company in 1972. Okay, how many of you were not born in 1972? 82? Okay, I got a couple in there. Okay. Anyway, but Art was the oldest guy in the company, David. He was 30 years old. Actually, he was 29 when I started, and then I started in October of 1972. Art turned 30 in April of 1973, and I went full time in June of 1973. And so obviously, back then, I mean, who did we talk to, Dave? We talked to those people that we sort of knew. Well, today, believe it or not, we have RVPs that are 80 years old, I don't know what they're doing, but they're 80 years old. But so you have 20-something, 30-something, 40-something, 50, you got we really do have a broad base of RVPs. But the company has made a concerted effort to recognize the fact that your generation, David, and Emma, your generation is really the future, okay? Not necessarily, the only part of the future, but are going to be a big part of the future of Primerica in the future. And so, I told guys, some of our older first generation RVPs, I won't mention their names, but they say, how do I really get to start to recruit these guys in their 50s now, maybe. How do I recruit these these millennial folks to get at my base shop? I said, get your daughter to start dating one. That's right. That's the easiest way to do it. And a couple of them actually have done that. But David, so what's your thinking along that line? Because you've been around now almost 20 years, right? Okay. All right, you were a mere babe when you joined this thing, weren't you? Okay, all right. So, and you have a lot of young people in your organization. Give us some insight as to how do you get them? What do they think? It's interesting because my sister, I told you about my sister Terry. She deals with, she deals with entrepreneurs and big corporations and stuff. And she sent me a text this morning or an email this morning. About things that millennials are looking for today, and I found it very interesting. And that they're not necessarily. It was sort of interesting because they're not interested necessarily in working for a big corporation, but they want to be innovative. They want to be business people. They want to figure out ways of doing things differently and so forth, and which sort of plays into what we're doing. So give us some of your thoughts. And hold that microphone up where we can hear you too.
Well, I think. First of all, I'm glad I'm a millennial.
I didn't say that. I want you to talk about them.
I think. To have them around, they really keep you young. I think that's one thing I love about that. But I think, we do KTPs all the time, and I think when we get out in the field, most of you guys are doing appointments. And a lot of people you sit down with, their kids are 18, 19, 20, 21. And most of them, even though they're in school, they don't know what they're doing, right? And just like school, they talk them into getting a major and a minor. And I think this is a great minor if they're in school. And then hopefully they like this more than their major and they make this thing happen, right? But a lot of millennials come through appointments. Ears are always open. All our guys are always listening for, their kids or their nephews or their niece, right? And then also the ones that are out in the workforce. Most of them are making $10, $12 an hour. Right. You can prospect about everywhere these folks. As soon as you see a young person, they're not getting paid $40 an hour. Right. They're not a surgeon. They're not an attorney. Right. Talk to them. They're all probably making $10 an hour. Home Depot, Walmart, Macy's, all that kind of stuff, right? And then also at the same time, because they have that energy, they don't need to take naps like, David Santos every day, 2 hours. These millennials, they can work 10 hours just like we did when we were young, right? And then you gotta have that bigger vision if you're gonna do millennials, right? My thought is I'm gonna get, this next couple years, now that I'm out of maternity leave this year, we're going to do some big things, Rusty. But, think about this. Think about you get 12 millennials trained. Get them to RVP. These guys are like, what, 20s, early 30s? Think about 20 years of overrides on that. You're talking millions.
That's true.
Right? So for me, that gets me excited.
That's good.
Right? And I hope a lot of you out there get excited about that.
That's good.
Right? But then think about paint that picture for them is another thing we've been doing, Rusty. Paint the picture of their parents. So the first question I ask them is, your parents still working? What do they do? Right? And as soon as they say a job, then the next question is, do they own a house? Is it paid off? So you mean they've been living at this house you live in, they've been working 38 years, and the house ain't paid off. I mean, would you want not to put your parents down, but would you want your life like that? Do you know they got $500,000 saved? Do they have $1 million saved? Because what are you going to inherit? Are you just going to inherit a house that's got 22 years left on it? Right? With no money? Right? See, so you paint that picture for them, so then they see it, and then they're like, you just get them thinking. Because they're not dumb.
Yeah.
They need to think.
Never thought of that. Interesting. Steve? Great. That's a great message, David. Yeah.
A lot of times there. A lot of times with the younger market, you do have to move quick, and you got to move fast. And a lot of times when I'm interviewing them, and I could see that there's a third party, maybe their parents, that they got to get their support from their parents. I don't really go over the 99. I said, look, the next step is, I'm sure, do you make decisions on your own, or do you normally have your folks, you're going to school right now, you're young, and a lot of times they'll say, yes, okay, the next step is I need to meet with your parents, and I need to go over all this with your parents before we get you started. Absolutely. And that's an appointment, and you turn that into an appointment, and the other thing is you get I even had a lady one time, because her son was young, and I met with the mom. She was a single mom, and she goes, I just want to commend you for doing that you sat with me before getting them, because I would have thought you were trying to take them out of school. And just some of those really, but move quick with them. Don't wait. And to get their list and help them call and recruit through their friends and their families, because then you could get them moving, because the fear of loss is probably the biggest motivator for the millennial, for anybody really. And that's some of the things, an idea that
Emma, our newest $100,000 earner. Emma, by the way, are you and Eric going to be in the book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna be
So
in the
you'll
book.
start signing autographs.
Yeah, we're excited. Actually, Eric and I are part of that millennial, and some of the things that really attracted us to this business, and especially Eric, was of course the flexibility. We saw he's always been very business-minded, because we come from a background where we saw our parents work the 25, 30 years, everything that David is talking about, we saw that with our parents, our aunts and uncles, and we realized that wasn't it. But what they sold me was go to school, get a good education.
Sure, yeah.
I had already got my master's when I came to Primerica, so I had already made that mistake and put me all in debt. But then I saw where Primerica can be my vehicle to be able to accomplish a lot more than as a teacher wasn't gonna happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then I realized that, okay, Primerica's got the flexibility. I could be able to help people, and one day we could be able to have our own office one day. Now at the beginning, we didn't believe we could do it, okay, but the leaders pouring into us and believing in us, and we realized, well, you know what, I think we could do this. I think we could do this. So, I mean, the millennials definitely. I mean, we have all kinds of energy, and we love the opportunity to be able to build it at your own term. Okay, do what you want to do. Just stay compliant and build however you want to build it. Okay, so we're definitely excited about all that, Rusty, and thank you for having us speak today.
Great,
okay,
great. Shanika? Now, Shanika, you and Dave, you're a part. Are you licensed, by the way? Oh, yeah, you need to be with this guy. But so you guys are an active partnership.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
that. So you're sort of somebody who knows the inside and the outside
Yes, sir.
of the business. So tell us, give us your thoughts on all this.
I think that you got to keep it fun. I think that that's a very, very big thing with millennials is they want to have fun. They don't want to be stuffed up in some office environment. They don't want to be behind a desk all day long. They want to have fun. So you got to keep your environment fun and energetic. You can't be, you know, rolling into jazz music playing. You know, you roll into our office and, you know, you got great music playing. I'm sorry, Rusty. You got great music playing. You know, that's if you want to attract millennials, because they don't want to be a part of anything that's stuffy. They don't want to be a part of anything that resembles what their parents were a part of, right? They want to do everything differently. So we got to change it up a little bit. You know, you got to be open to their suggestions, to their thoughts, and you got to listen to them, because especially when they're looking at you like your parents, right? They don't want you to parent them. They want you to coach them, to teach them, to bring them into an environment where they can be a part of it, but watch it grow. And so I think that it's very, very important that you just keep it fun, keep it exciting, keep it interesting, but at the same time, keep them on track and keep them focused, right?
Not bad, girl. I was with you right up until the music. Okay. David, can you top that?
Is that the camera? Filipino thing, man. Anyway, hey, just to really piggyback on what she's saying, like they taught you, I mean, they showed you guys how to get them. But in our opportunity meetings, you know, we do have a lot of fun. I mean, the type of music is very important that you play there, because they're, you know, millennials want to hear a certain type of music. They like the bass. Yeah. You know, so I got a woofer in my office. So you RVPs, you want the bass in your offices. You want to get an 18-inch woofer. You know, so I have loudspeakers. We have fun in our opportunity meetings. You know, we have people dance. We do a lot of chest bumping, a lot of high-fiving, and a lot of good stuff like that. And we just try to keep our office just very fun, like she said. You know, because that's very attractive to the younger generation. Because like she said, they don't want to be around anything that's boring or stuffy or anything like that. You know, so.
Okay, back to David for a second. Great. So Dave, what I'd like you guys to think about, so you'll have plenty of time to think about this one, David, is like just give us your best, you know, your best recruiting idea. What do you think is the best? Just, you know, what do you say to someone? You know, how do you approach someone? Just in, you know, 30 seconds or so. Give us just a nugget on recruiting someone.
Okay.
How do you?
Well, I think if you forget what to say or anything, this one always works, okay? Just make eye contact with someone and just go, "You look familiar. I know you from somewhere. Were you my teacher? Were you my babysitter? Were you the lady I dated 10 years ago? Whatever. Were you my brother's best friend? Weren't you the driver that drove us on prom night? Whatever." That line always works. I did that one time at Macy's. An elevator lady was coming down, was going up. I said, "I know you from somewhere. Hang on, when you get down there, wait for me." I went down and I recruited her. Okay, you look familiar. Y'all got that? You look familiar.
I think one of the things I'm talking to some of our guys with right now is to write a list of the type of people you want in your business. So make a list of all the qualities you want, and when you're out prospecting, now you're looking for that. And
Great. That's great, Steve.
And
That's good.
so I'm out there, and I know what I'm looking for. You know, I'm turning every rock, and you know, when I'm walking up to people, I'm just saying, "Hey, look, I'm in charge of expansion. We're growing in this area, and we're looking for good, sharp, business-minded people that want a partnership up with us. Hey, are you open? Are you always looking to make more money, or you know anybody looking?" And just real quick.
Great. I like the idea of you know, make a list of what I'm looking for, because that way then you start focusing.
Right.
You know, you don't really eliminate anybody, but you're focused on looking for that kind of person. Emma?
Ours is just basically, you know, are you from this area? Okay, are you from this area? Because our company is expanding and we're looking for people. And what we do is whatever is it that we're shopping around for, we make a list of things that we're looking for. And, you know, we go one place and then we go to another place. And that's how and everybody that we come across, just what Steve's talking about, we talk to everybody.
Yeah, that's the key.
We really don't eliminate anybody.
That's
I
the
mean,
key.
you know, and especially if they have a ring, we have DC kids, we're talking to them.
Good,
Okay,
good.
because we know that.
Yeah, I
they can
remember
reach to.
that one of the things that I used to do in recruiting, if I was driving around neighborhoods, now, y'all won't understand what I'm about to say. Well, you probably understand swing sets, okay? But I look for big wheels. Y'all probably don't know what big wheels are, okay? You know, anything that kids toys, all right? You know, anything like that, in yards, I would look for. You know, knew I was in the right neighborhood, and I'd try to prosper. I literally, ladies and gentlemen, I walked up and down our neighborhood, knocked on doors. I don't recommend that, but I knocked on doors. You know, I cold called on the telephone. You know, I had lists of people I didn't know and just picked up the phone. I don't recommend that today. You don't really have to do that, you know, very much, if you at all. So, Shanika?
Actually, I'm going to defer this one to my husband.
Okay.
Well, you know, this may not be quite I don't know if it's a recruiting tip or not, but one of the things helped me in the very beginning, because I was a youth pastor, was, you know, if you're trying to fish for a certain type of fish, you gotta go where they're swimming, right? So because that was my
use the
warm
right
market.
bait, by the way.
That's right. That's the right bait. So, you know, here, for you guys that are in a Christian community, one of the things I would say to pastors was, hey, if there's a way I can help your church increase their tithes and offerings, would you mind giving me at least 20 minutes to sit down with you? What pastor would tell you no?
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, so, you know, that's one of the things I got a chance to get into doors at a lot of churches, or you guys that are coaches or athletes. You know, it's easier for you to that's your warm market. So find your warm market. They may not be your best friends, but find your warm market, and because you have something in common. For me, it was the Christian community. That was an easy, that was a niche for me. So I got it. That helped me to do a lot of workshops and things of that nature, and that's how I got
Good.
a lot of new recruits
Good.
from that.
Well, great. You know, another thing that what we would always try to tell the recruits when we first got them in the business, obviously we want to get their list and all that sort of stuff, whether they're millennials or, you know, or my age, okay, really young go-getters, you know, young at heart go-getters. But we would always ask, excuse me, we would always ask them, you know, a couple of things. You know, who do you know that you could just walk up tonight, knock on their door, and they'd let you in?
Right.
You know, and would open up their door and let you sit down and talk to them. You know, those are really the first people you want to go to. And you know, if somebody's new in the area, Emma, you know, that's tough to do, okay? But the key, you said the key, you have to talk to everyone. You cannot eliminate anyone. You don't know who the next great leader is going to be. And you may walk right past them. So I mean, Rusty Crossland recruited today. I have RVPs that I recruited on airplanes with my $100,000 ring, that I recruited on a trout stream in North Georgia. I recruited people in the father's waiting room of DeKalb General Hospital every single time one of my children was born. What are husbands doing in the father's waiting room of the hospitals? Okay, they're fidgeting, wondering, you know, they got a new baby coming. What are they thinking about? How am I going to pay for this? I recruit people that way. So never miss that opportunity to talk to people, any place, anytime, anywhere. And I promise you, you know what? I always tell people you get 3 answers: yes, no, and maybe. All right? Yes, no, and maybe. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I mean, if you could hit 666, you'd be in the Hall of Fame pretty quick, wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay, so don't give up on people, all right, and talk to everybody. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.